Edge in high-tech key for China to weather trade war. With no immediate end in sight to the China-US trade war, China needs to boost its domestic economy to withstand the negative impact of the feud. The key is to retain the vigor and capability of China's high-tech sector. The recent ups and downs in China-US relations show that the trade war is much more than a trade imbalance between the two countries. Analysts believe that the trade is only a sideshow. The real intention of the US is to squeeze China's space in new technologies, as we have seen from the intense US political pressure on Chinese tech giant Huawei. James Andrew Lewis, Senior Vice President and Director of Technology Policy Program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, noted that the modern levers of power are no longer territory or resources that empires of the past times engaged in battles to vie for. Nowadays, it is all about rules, standards and technology. China has laid out its high-tech ambitions and aims to support cutting-edge industries such as AI, 5G communications and clean energy vehicles, which can be new sources of growth for an economy driven by the spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation. As Lewis pointed out, a country's ability to innovate and produce advanced technologies provides economic strength, military power and an intangible benefit of perceived leadership. China still lags behind the US in many technology fields including manufacturing, new materials and chips, but China is catching up and closing the gap. That is perhaps what the US, for so long enjoying supremacy, fears. Last year a poll by Axios showed that 51% of Americans are concerned by China's technological advancement. That the US counters China's growing influence is becoming a regular strategy. It remains uncertain how long the fully fledged competition between China and the US will last, but what is for sure is that China must keep on with its high-tech momentum and take the initiative in innovation and competition. China's system enables the country to concentrate on and prioritize national interests. China should make use of its institutional advantages and mobilize its resources to make breakthroughs in key areas such as AI, 5G and aerospace. More research funds and personnel can be plowed into these fields. Simply being defensive is not enough for China to safeguard its interests anymore. By improving its competitiveness in the high-tech sector, China can switch from being defensive to active. Next, one dialogue of civilizations can iron out cultural creases. The Conference on Dialogue of Asian Civilizations will kick off in Beijing soon. It is China's attempt to promote understanding among different civilizations, inclusive development, and to respond to the theory of the clash of civilizations with the philosophy of building a community with a shared future for mankind. During the just concluded Second Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation, China defined the future of the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI) as a route that brings together different civilizations. It reflects China's ample confidence in the initiative to enhance civilizational exchanges, mutual understanding and civilized coexistence. Through BRI, countries can understand, respect, and trust one another. Differences do exist between China and the US, the two most influential powers in the world, in terms of civilizations. Some in the US are even prejudiced about China's culture and disagree with the country's development path and value system. China has always advocated mutual learning between civilizations. The country needs to strengthen its power of discourse and show Chinese civilization's unique charm to the US, the West, and the entire international community. The dialogue between Chinese and American civilizations, an important part of the dialogue of global civilizations, is of great significance in building a community with a shared future for mankind. Over the years, China and the US have already explored quite a lot in this regard. At the Mar-a-Lago summit between Chinese and US leaders in 2017, the two sides agreed to establish high-level dialogue mechanisms, including social and people-to-people contact. In addition, Chinese and US scholars organized the Sino-American Dialogue on Core Values as early as in 2011. The Foreign Affairs magazine published an article titled China vs. America, Managing the Next Clash of Civilizations in 2017. Surprisingly, recent reports by the Washington Examiner and Voice of America indicate that the U.S. State Department is developing strategies in response to the clash with Chinese civilization. The clash of civilizations is a theory proposed in 1993 by Samuel Huntington, a well-known U.S. political scholar who teaches at Harvard University. He argued that the clash of civilizations, instead of ideological and economic clashes, will be the primary source of conflict in the post-Cold War world. He conjectured that the core of international politics will be the interaction between Western and non-Western civilizations. Huntington predicted that the clash of civilizations would be especially manifested in Western Islamic conflicts after the Cold War. It is puzzling that U.S. officials are now turning to China. The clash of civilizations theory targeting China seems to be gaining traction among anti-China forces in the U.S. The national security strategy issued by the White House in late 2017 labeled China as a strategic competitor. The U.S. adverse policies toward China have created obstacles in the path of smooth China-U.S. relations. If the U.S. Department of State continues to promote policy measures against China based on the clash of civilizations, ties will be further hurt, and more specific steps taken. Not only that, the U.S. may also take advantage of this theory and force other countries to follow its lead in containing China. However, such attempts by adversarial U.S. forces will eventually fall flat. Their argument of clash of civilizations, violating mainstream American values based on pluralism and inclusiveness, has already triggered heated debate inside the U.S. Some senior U.S. experts studying China have criticized the view for lacking understanding of China. It will be tough if the U.S. attempts to lead the West to a civilizational battle with China. The damage caused by the America First theory has yet to heal. Describing U.S. competition with China as the clash of civilization may once again create contradictions and panic. Dialogue of civilizations is needed rather than a Cold War. The author is a senior reporter and an observer of international issues, opinion at globaltimes.com.cn.